Emily, a 14-year-old girl with an adventurous spirit, has always felt most at home in the countryside. Growing up on her family's farm, she developed a deep love for animals, but none as strong as the bond she shares with her horse, Storm. A powerful black stallion with a wild yet loyal heart, Storm has been Emily's closest companion since she helped raise him from a fragile foal. Every morning, before school, Emily rushes to the stables to greet Storm, brushing his sleek coat and feeding him apples from the orchard. In the afternoons, they gallop through the rolling fields, their movements perfectly in sync, as if they understand each other without words. Emily dreams of one day competing in equestrian events, proving that she and Storm are more than just a rider and her horse. They are a team. But life in the countryside is unpredictable, and nature can be both beautiful and dangerous. One fateful evening, a sudden storm will put Emily's courage and determination to the ultimate test, forcing her to fight against all odds to save the one she loves most. The storm and the accident. The sky, once painted in warm hues of sunset, darkens as ominous clouds roll in. Emily, riding Storm across the open fields, feels the first drops of rain splash against her skin. A distant rumble of thunder echoes through the valley, sending a shiver down her spine. She knows they should head back to the farm, but Storm, sensing the tension in the air, grows restless beneath her. Suddenly, a flash of lightning streaks across the sky, followed by a deafening crack of thunder. Storm rears up in fear, his powerful hooves striking the air. Emily tightens her grip on the reins, trying to calm him, but another burst of thunder sends him into a panicked gallop. Wind and rain whip against them as Storm charges toward the dense forest, his instincts urging him to flee the storm. Emily pulls desperately on the reins, but Storm's fear blinds him. The ground, slick with rain, becomes treacherous beneath his hooves. Before she can react, Storm stumbles over a hidden drop-off, his front legs plunging into a deep ravine. Emily is thrown from the saddle, landing hard on the muddy ground. Pain shoots through her arm, but her heart pounds with a greater fear. Storm isn't moving. Scrambling to her feet, Emily stumbles toward him. His right front leg is trapped between heavy rocks, his nostrils flaring as he struggles in vain. His deep brown eyes, usually so full of life, now hold fear and pain. Emily kneels beside him, running her hands over his trembling body. She swallows back panic, realizing the storm is getting worse, the rain falling in heavy sheets. She has no phone, no way to call for help, and no one knows where she is. Emily knows she has to act fast, before the storm worsens and before Storm's injuries become irreversible. Desperate plea for help, Emily kneels beside Storm, her heart pounding as she watches him struggle against the heavy rocks trapping his leg. His breaths come in short, panicked bursts, and his usually strong frame trembles with exhaustion and pain. She runs a soothing hand along his neck, whispering, "It's okay, boy. I'll get you out of here." But deep inside, fear grips her. She has no idea how. The storm rages on, rain pouring down in thick sheets, soaking her clothes and turning the ground beneath her into slippery mud. Emily looks around desperately, hoping to spot someone, her father, a passing farmhand, anyone who might help. But the ravine is deep, and the dense trees surrounding them block any view of the distant farmhouse. She reaches into her pocket, her fingers trembling as she pulls out her cell phone. Her heart sinks when she sees the screen. No signal. She waves it in the air, moving in different directions, but the storm has wiped out any chance of a connection. Emily knows she has two choices: run for help or stay with Storm. She looks at his trapped leg, at the way his muscles quiver with each movement. If she leaves him now, what if he panics and injures himself even more? But if she doesn't go, no one will know where they are. Torn, she makes her decision. "I'll be right back, Storm. Stay strong." She pushes herself up and starts running toward the farm, her boots sinking into the mud with every step. But the storm is relentless. A sudden gust of wind sends a branch crashing down just inches away from her. She gasps, losing her footing, and before she can catch herself, she slips on the slick ground. A sharp pain shoots through her ankle as she lands hard. She groans, trying to move, but a jolt of pain tells her she's twisted it badly. Tears of frustration burn her eyes. She can't run now. Clenching her jaw, Emily forces herself up. If she can't go for help, she'll have to rescue Storm herself. Ignoring the pain in her ankle, she turns back toward the ravine, determination burning through her fear. No one is coming. It's up to her now. Battling against time and nature, Emily limps back toward Storm, her ankle throbbing with every step. The rain continues to pour, cold and relentless, and the wind howls through the trees. Her clothes are soaked through, clinging to her skin, but she barely notices the discomfort. All she can think about is getting to Storm before the situation gets worse. When she reaches him, her heart sinks. Storm is still trapped, his leg wedged tightly between the jagged rocks, and his breathing is shallow, strained. She kneels beside him, her hands trembling as she gently touches his mane, trying to calm him with soft words. "I'm here, Storm. Stay with me," she whispers, though her voice cracks with fear. The storm has only grown more intense, and Emily knows they don't have much time. The longer Storm stays trapped, the more likely he is to suffer from shock or worsen his injuries. The cold is setting in, and she can see his muscles shaking, not just from the pain, but from the freezing rain that's soaking him. She looks around frantically, trying to think of something, anything, that might help. Then, in a flash, she remembers what her father had taught her when they'd worked together on the farm: leverage. Emily scrambles to gather fallen branches and sticks from the forest floor, using them as tools to pry at the rocks. Her fingers are stiff from the cold, but she doesn't care. She jams a large branch between two of the rocks, trying to use it as a lever to move them. The weight of the stone is immense, but she pushes with all her strength, her muscles burning as she strains against it. For what feels like hours, Emily works tirelessly, each move made with a sense of urgency. The rain continues to pour, the storm showing no signs of letting up, but she refuses to give in. Her mind keeps telling her that she has to keep going, that she must keep trying. With each small shift of the rocks, hope flickers, but Storm remains stuck. Frustration begins to claw at her resolve. She's exhausted, her body aching, her hands cut and bruised from the effort. The pain in her ankle is unbearable now, but she ignores it. She can't stop, not when Storm needs her. She breathes deeply, focusing all her energy on the task ahead. Her father had always said, "When you don't think you can go any further, that's when you push hardest." And so, Emily digs deeper into her resolve, pulling a heavy rock away with the last of her strength, just as the wind howls even louder and lightning flashes overhead. The weight shifts. Slowly, Storm stirs, letting out a soft whinny, and Emily knows she's made progress. She pulls again, this time using all her remaining energy. Finally, with a loud crack, one of the largest rocks slides off, freeing part of Storm's leg. He lifts his head, giving her a weak, grateful look. But he's still trapped, his leg caught in the remaining rocks. Emily can feel the weight of time pressing on her. The storm is relentless, and every moment counts. An ingenious plan. With the storm still raging, Emily takes a moment to catch her breath, her chest heaving from the strain. She looks at Storm, whose leg remains firmly wedged between the remaining rocks. His eyes are tired, but he's still trying to move, his body trembling with exhaustion. The mud around them is getting deeper, and Emily knows they're running out of time. If she doesn't act fast, Storm could suffer further injury, or worse, he could go into shock. Her mind races for a solution, and then, in a moment of clarity, it hits her. Leverage. But this time, it won't just be brute force. She needs to think smarter, not harder. Emily scans the surroundings quickly, looking for anything that could help. Her gaze lands on a sturdy tree branch nearby, and she hobbles over to it, gritting her teeth against the pain in her ankle. She drags the branch closer to Storm, using it like a cane to support her injured foot as she moves. She remembers the knot in the branch, the perfect place to use as a pivot. She kneels beside Storm and starts using the branch to dig into the dirt and rocks around his trapped leg. The rain is still coming down hard, but she ignores it, focusing only on the task at hand. If she can create enough space between the rocks, Maybe she can use the branch as a lever to lift one of the larger stones. Her hands are sore, her fingers cold and numb, but she digs and pries, trying to loosen the rocks. Slowly, the soil shifts, and the gap between the rocks grows a little wider. Her heart races. She's getting somewhere. She presses harder, using all the strength left in her body to push the branch beneath the rocks. The angle is awkward, and she has to position her body just right to keep the leverage, but Emily knows this is her best shot. She can't afford to wait any longer. With a deep breath, she pushes down on the branch with all her weight. At first, nothing happens. The rocks stay stubbornly in place. But then, with a faint cracking sound, one of the stones shifts. Emily grins, barely able to believe it. She presses again, harder, her fingers sore from the force. The rock moves. Not much, but it's enough. "Come on, Storm," Emily murmurs, her voice barely a whisper over the storm's fury. "Just a little more." With renewed determination, she shifts the branch again, adjusting her position to get the best leverage. Inch by inch, the stone slides free, and then, finally, with a loud scrape, it tumbles away. Emily gasps in relief as Storm's leg is freed from the last of the rocks. His leg is bruised and swollen, but at least it's no longer trapped. Storm whinnies softly, his head turning to nuzzle her shoulder. Emily lets out a shaky breath, her heart racing, but she knows they're not out of danger yet. Storm is free, but he's hurt and exhausted. She wraps her arms around his neck, pulling him close. "Good boy," she whispers. "You're going to be okay." But the worst is far from over. The storm shows no sign of letting up, and now Emily faces the daunting task of getting Storm back to safety. She knows it won't be easy, and the journey will be painful, but for the first time since the accident, a flicker of hope shines in her chest. They've come this far. Now, she just has to get them both home. A helping hand arrives. Just as Emily begins to brace herself for the next challenge, getting Storm to safety, she hears something in the distance. The sound of voices, faint at first, grows louder as it cuts through the storm. Her heart skips a beat. Help. She turns her head, straining to see through the curtain of rain and the thick trees surrounding them. The voices are now clearer, and she recognizes her father's call. "Emily! Emily, where are you?" A surge of relief floods her chest. She calls back, her voice hoarse from the cold and exertion. "Dad, I'm here, over here." Within moments, she hears the familiar sound of boots crunching through wet leaves, and then her father, with a flashlight in hand, appears through the mist of rain. His face is pale with worry, but when he sees Emily, his expression softens with relief. "Oh, Emily," he says, rushing toward her. "We've been looking for you everywhere. Are you okay?" His eyes quickly scan her for injuries, then land on Storm, who's still standing weakly but free from the rocks. Emily nods, though exhaustion is written across her face. "I'm fine, just my ankle. It's nothing. But Storm—" Her voice catches in her throat as she looks at her horse, who is trembling and limping slightly. Her father kneels beside Storm, examining his injured leg. His face tightens with concern. "He's hurt, but we'll get him out of here." He turns to the group of people who have followed him into the woods, neighbors and farm hands, all holding ropes and tools. The search party had been combing the area, searching for Emily after she hadn't returned. "Let's get him up," her father commands gently. Two of the men carefully approach Storm, placing a thick rope around his body to help guide him out of the ravine. They move slowly, making sure not to cause him any more pain. Emily watches with bated breath as they work together, her father's calm leadership evident. Every movement is calculated, and they manage to get Storm standing on his own, though his leg is still wobbly. Emily takes his reins, her hands shaking but steady. "It's okay, boy," she whispers, her voice trembling with relief. "We're almost there." As the group begins to lead Storm out of the ravine, Emily's father places a hand on her shoulder. "You did good, Emily. I'm proud of you," he says, his voice thick with emotion. She smiles weakly, feeling the weight of the last few hours slowly lifting. "I couldn't leave him, Dad. He's my best friend." Her father nods, understanding the bond that had kept her going when everything seemed hopeless. As they make their way back through the forest, the storm begins to let up, the rain tapering off as the clouds slowly part. The first hints of dawn begin to pierce the sky. Despite the exhaustion and the pain in her ankle, Emily feels a rush of pride. They've made it through the worst of it, and as she looks at Storm, his limp slowly improving, she knows that their journey isn't over. They're both survivors, and nothing can break their bond. A long road to recovery. The journey back to the farmhouse is slow, with Emily and her father guiding Storm carefully through the mud-soaked paths. The air feels damp and cold, and Emily can barely feel her injured ankle anymore, though the throbbing in her bones reminds her of the hours of grueling work she's put in. Her father insists on carrying her when the terrain gets too tough, his strong arms supporting her as they walk side by side. Storm, now supported by the gentle hands of the neighbors, stumbles but stays on his feet, determined despite his injury. The look in his eyes is one of deep trust, and Emily can feel his gratitude as they make their way home. When they finally reach the barn, her mother is waiting for them, her eyes wide with relief as she rushes forward. Emily's father tells her everything: the storm, the rescue, how brave Emily had been. Her mother hugs her tightly, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "You're both safe now," she says softly. Storm is led into the barn, and Emily watches anxiously as the vet arrives shortly after, carefully inspecting his leg. After a thorough examination, the vet gives them good news. Storm's leg is sprained, but not broken. It will take time, but with the right care, he will recover. For the next few weeks, Emily's world revolves around Storm's recovery. She spends hours in the barn with him, brushing his coat, talking to him, and doing everything she can to help him heal. Her ankle, though still sore, is improving with rest, and she learns to be patient, something she's never been good at. Every day, Emily helps Storm with his exercises, gently stretching his injured leg to prevent stiffness. As the days pass, she sees signs of improvement. He begins to put more weight on his leg, and his once haggard eyes start to shine with energy again. His spirit is unbroken, and that gives Emily the strength to push through her own pain and fatigue. During this time, her parents, neighbors, and friends praise her courage and resourcefulness. Word of the rescue spreads, and Emily becomes a local hero, though she's always quick to remind everyone that it was a team effort. Storm had helped her just as much as she helped him. By the end of the month, Storm is back on his feet, his limp all but gone. Emily is overjoyed, but she's also learned something valuable. True strength comes from within. Her connection with Storm has deepened, and every moment with him is a reminder of the bond they share, one that no storm or accident can ever break. Though the competition she had dreamed of with Storm seems far off, Emily knows it's not the only goal that matters. She's proud of how far they've come, and together, they've proven that no matter the odds, they'll face the future side by side. Triumph and a new beginning months have passed since the storm, and Emily stands at the edge of the pasture, watching as Storm grazes peacefully in the morning sunlight. The air is crisp and still, and there's a sense of quiet serenity after all the chaos they endured. Emily smiles softly, the faintest of bruises still visible on her ankle, but the soreness is gone. More importantly, the bond she shares with Storm has only grown stronger. The road to recovery for both of them had been long and challenging, but every day they had faced it together, and now they're stronger than ever. Storm moves with a grace that reminds Emily of how he used to gallop across the fields, his once injured leg no longer a hindrance. Today marks the day she's been waiting for, the first day she'll ride him again. She brushes him down one final time in the barn, her fingers tracing the smooth lines of his coat. "Are you ready, boy?" she whispers, her heart pounding with excitement. With the help of her father, Emily saddles Storm, her hands steady despite the anticipation building in her chest. Storm is calm, his dark eyes meeting hers with quiet understanding. He's not the same frightened horse who had panicked in the storm, and Emily isn't the same girl who had feared for his life. They have both grown. They ride out together, side by side, into the wide open fields. This time, it's not a race against time or nature. It's a celebration of everything they've overcome. Emily feels the wind in her hair as Storm moves beneath her, their rhythm in perfect harmony. She laughs aloud, the sound free and joyful, as they trot across the fields, the world unfolding in front of them like a new beginning. In the distance, the local equestrian event is set to take place in a few weeks. Emily had always dreamed of competing, but after the storm, she had begun to realize that the real victory wasn't about ribbons or trophies. It was about the strength and resilience they had both shown when it mattered most. And, in her heart, she knew that no matter where the future took them, she and Storm had already achieved something far greater. As they reach the edge of the farm, Emily pulls gently on the reins, guiding Storm to a stop. She pats his neck affectionately, a sense of peace settling over her. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" she murmurs, as if sharing a secret with him. From this moment on, she knows their journey is just beginning. Whatever challenges lie ahead, Emily and Storm will face them together, with the unwavering bond that nothing, no storm, no injury, can ever break. The future is full of possibilities, and for the first time in a long time, Emily feels ready to embrace it all. Together, they are unstoppable,